So now the recording has started. This is a different episode for we're not playing Dota the second, boys and girls. We're not playing. We're going to be talking about this Dota Plus thingy, and I got Bro with me since he's like the pro businessman and what he thinks about this. I'm actually I'm almost like borderline livid about where I feel Dota could go because of this. I don't mind this package right now. I believe it's like a soft introduction to a pay to play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very uncomfortable with that because Dota always represented the opposite for me. Granted, I spend a ton of money on Dota because I'll buy the stupid items. You buy the what's that called, the books that I'm
The
making.
compendiums.
Yeah, I'll buy the compendiums. I'll even spend extra money to buy the stupid little things to get a chance at a set I really want, or buy 10 of those fucking little sets. Like, I'll blow money on this game. I just don't like the idea of this way of blowing money on the game, if that makes sense.
So, well, let's talk about the specific features that you think,
Okay.
are pay to play, basically, or pay to win.
I'll just kind of scroll down. Right now, it's subscribe now, $3.99 per month. You get a deal, almost 2 months off if you do a year, which is okay. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of like an Xbox Live thing, a little bit cheaper, I guess is what it would be. But
I mean, I look at it, to me, just if you just look at, right, it gives you access to battle cups every weekend, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, you'd spend 99 cents on a ticket. So to me, this just
yeah,
means it's a discount for me to play battle cups, just purely that, let alone all the other stuff you get on top of it.
yeah.
So to me, it's just like, okay, great, I can play Battle Cup for 80 cents or whatever it works out to be.
I like. Well, I don't make all the battle cups, but I like the idea of, or
Yeah.
at least try to make more of the battle cups. Um, that way, I really like that idea behind it. But I don't think there's going to be a battle cup realistically every week because they actually have to narrow down the competition. So I don't know how that'll work, but I do feel that it'll be close to that level. If they let the underdogs compete who aren't getting anything still get to play Battle Cup, that's cool.
Yeah.
Once it gets around the championship time. But it is still cheap. You can't argue with the price being cheap now. I just believe it's an introduction to um, pay to play, and like other video games are set up, and kind of removes some of the heart of what I felt Dota was. It was like an introduction. It was free to play. What I don't like, I don't mind the you pay to get the battle pass
Uh-huh.
stuff. I don't
Uh-huh.
mind you paying to get more outfits and the challenges. I do mind you paying. I'm gonna scroll down. Hero relics, chat wheel. I don't care. You can pay for that stuff. Whatever. It's quirky. It's silly. The plus assistant feels dubious to me.
So is there something specific about that, or just it?
If you don't pay, you don't get it, and it just feels like you're starting to separate people. If you want better recommended build items, you should pay us.
So does the guides go? Do the guides go away? Like the community source guides go away for the people who don't pay?
I don't know. I assume
'Cause, right,
those
there's
still stay right now.
right. So there's always been an item guide, right?
Yeah,
So if you look at like Tortellini, right? So Tortellini always made the guides, updated them based on the meta that was
yeah,
currently happening for the hero, and it
yeah,
was very difficult for him to keep up, right? It was usually always what patch behind or half a patch behind at least.
yeah,
I mean, I think just recently he got back up to date. So to me, the guides are just an extension of that, right? So like to me, like when I look at the build guides, like at least the ones that are up there right now, like I think it's 3 options they give you, and there's really no difference in in what they're saying you should build, right? It gives you
Yeah.
it says like, okay, build this, this, or this, and it's like almost the same for each because I guess the data isn't there. But like it to me, it's not much different than that. Like, okay, well, if I'm going to play, like a hero, for instance, like a Void, right? So a Void could typically, I mean, well, there was at one point where a Void could play in the safe lane and it could play in the off lane. Obviously, off lane Void seems to be going away, except for niche picks. And even safe lane, I mean, Void overall just doesn't seem to be a very popular hero at this point. But it used to be two different builds, right? So usually off lane Void is very utility. And so those two guides were always in there, right? And it would give you item suggestions, and it would also give you build suggestions on your skills, right? So suggesting the abilities. To me, what this is offering you is really just a little bit more data-driven version of that. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't really ever follow a guide anyway. I build based on the game. But I mean, I'm a low skill player too, so it's it's take that with a grain of salt. But I see what you're saying in that people who aren't paying for this are losing out on the more data-driven guides.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have the community source guides. There's still going to be guys who keep up on that, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to want to be because people aren't going to want to give them as much money. So I feel they're going to transition them out by the way this is set up.
Okay.
And keeping up with guides is hard to do, and I get why they're constantly behind because Dota's forever changing, and then trying to make a guide useful for 70% of the time is just, it's almost impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel that this Dota should be. It's a horribly complicated game. I love the game because of how hard it is. But if you're going to make it easier on some people, which I feel they're doing that, if you pay the money, it feels like they're giving you that little bit of here's what makes your life easier. Here's your reward for giving us money. We'll make the game easier for you, which they should be doing this already. This should just be interface updates to me. This is awesome. They should do this, and they should do it for everybody, is my point. This should not be part of the pay thing. They should keep making the game better for everybody to start playing it. If they really want to grow their user base, I think this kind of hurts what they were. Not that video games aren't doing it and being incredibly successful, just you have to pay us for levels, better guns, and all that shit. I'm just afraid it'll kind of get there. Like giving you better recommended hero picks is awesome. They should do that for everyone.
Yeah, so the hero suggestions, to me, I think that's my biggest problem. So the abilities, and again the abilities and the items, like I said, I mean, I don't see much of a difference from what was already there with community stuff. Okay. So it's just a little bit more machine data driven. But the hero suggestions, at first blush when I was looking at this, I was like, not a big deal because, again, it's based on data of wins and losses and whatever, right? But I can definitely see as we go, as more and more games are played under this system, it's going to suggest heroes that you otherwise would not have thought of. Now, those heroes can certainly still get countered based on what the enemy picks. Yeah. Especially in an all pick pub strat, right? But it certainly it narrows you down, right? I think it's 6 heroes it shows roughly. So if you're thinking I'm going to play mid and it's telling me 3 heroes and one I hadn't even thought of. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very distinct advantage over. Because you might just be thinking, today I'm going to play either Storm Spirit or I'm going to play Shadow Fiend mid, right? Mm-hmm. But, there might be a game where it's TA mid is really good here. And you're like, well, shit, let's try it. And, you just stomp the game, right? I think to me, that's a big issue. I mean, there was already third-party apps. I think it was actually called Dota Plus. Yeah. That updated to that. I tried that out for a little while. It wasn't very good. But this is certainly more powerful in the fact that it's being in client, and I agree that to me this feature seems like it could definitely be under the definition of pay to win, which I have a problem with.
Yeah.
So I think this one for sure they really need to look at, and maybe I think take out and put in the community, because you're right. I mean, it even should be limited, right? So like maybe even after like 100 games, right? You played 100 games, this goes away. You're no longer a quote unquote new player, something like that.
I don't mind like I said, this stuff is cool. It helps people. Period. Like, you think of things you wouldn't have thought of, or you see what everybody's playing, and you can definitely not pick this. There's going to be a lot of people raging against you because they're going to be like, well, the app said to pick this, so you didn't pick this, so you lost us the game. They're definitely gonna do that, which is gonna be bullshitty. But that's just people being people. But yeah. It just, they're supposed to make the game easier to play for everybody, or and that's what I'm on board with. This you pay us a little extra and we'll make your lives easier. And the death summary, this thing is super useful. That's another thing, right? This should just be there. If you're gonna give it to people who pay only, it feels unfair.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Again, I think it's very useful. I agree. I think it's really useful. You can also get this data right from Dota Buff still. I mean, we'll see if Dota Buff's still around, but you can still get. I mean, this data's out there already if people really want to look at it. Having it in game, I don't know how powerful it is, honestly, in game. I mean, like I took a look at it the couple games I played, and it was like, okay, great, but you already sort of. I mean, I don't know. For me, I already have an idea of what happened. Like, it's very rare. Like, there's only a few times in a game, especially like later game, like big team fights, where I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what was where did all the damage come from? Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh my God, like I died in 2 hits. Like, what happened? That might be where it's really useful. But I mean, for overall, to me, it doesn't seem much more useful than what it was, right? Because there's still a death summary. There was before. It just wasn't as detailed as this.
No, the death summary was harder. The log was much harder to read through and understand what type of stuff you took. And pure magic and physical damage is super cool to see, I think. The damage by type and what really hurt you and what didn't hurt you. It just goes back to me saying this just stuff should be, if it's anything that helps a person play better, that it should be part of the process, because you want to get people involved, you want them to get excited, you want to get them on board, and then a new person can easier understand what happened to them. That's a win-win. The reason Dota doesn't make a lot of, they don't make a lot of money because they haven't done, like, they let other people do guides, and they really haven't cleaned up their interface, and finding the schedule of a tournament sucks, and the list goes on and on. It's because they're cool because they're unorganized, but their biggest problem is also that they don't really have much polish or expectations too.
Yeah.
And now they're adding this stuff, so they're kicking all the people who worked really hard, like Dota Buff. It's going to be hard to be Dota Buff. It's going to be hard to be these other guys who spent a lot of time helping you out, and they didn't have all the data because Dota didn't share all the data beforehand intentionally. And so they're going to have an unfair advantage, period. So those people are just kind of shit out of luck, honestly. They're not going to start sharing it with them. They're going to be like, well, that's private data.
True. I mean, I think Dota Buff still has an advantage in that you can't. It's still a good source to go for other players, right? So like Dota Buff, I can go and I can look up the teams we're about to play, or the teams we're about to scrim.
Yeah,
and I can see I can see their profiles, and on all of them. I mean, for most of these leagues, right, they have to make their data open anyway. So So I still see value there, because you still can't, even with Dota Plus, right? It's not like I can all of a sudden go into somebody's profile who I'm not friends with and see their last set of games, right? Like I just clicked on a guy who I'm not friends with, who's friends with a guy I'm friends with, and I can't see his last games. I have no idea, right? So it's not like it gives you. If it gave you that power, then I'd be like, this is totally broken. They need to get rid of this immediately, because that is for sure pay to win. that type of thing. Like having that behind a paywall is ridiculous. But the but having that. So to finish that point, so for the guys like Dota Buff, I think there's still going to be value, in that, like I said, reviewing other players, reviewing other teams. But looking at like individual heroes and their success rate in different brackets, and those types of things, for sure, that's probably going to be less valuable, for somebody going to Dota Buff for that specific reason. Like you can get it in a client again if you're paying for it. So yeah, I mean, like, so like, and then if we move on to like lane strategy, that feature, again, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. This probably should just be available to everybody. I don't think to me that doesn't seem like it doesn't even seem like a premium feature. It's like, it's almost stating the obvious. It's like everybody knows like a Luna more than not is going to go safe lane unless there's a weird matchup where it makes sense for her to go save mid. All that stuff's pretty obvious to most players who've played the game for a while. This stuff is more for like a new person to the game that would be valuable.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then there was like what, post game analytics, the global trends, that type of stuff. I mean, all right, so it gives you 2 extra stats: performance against the benchmark, right, which is global average. So your hero against that global mark. I mean, how good that is. What? One thing I do like, and that we haven't talked about yet, is that maybe, again, might be on that edge of like pay to win, is like, if you can now open your stats, you can now not only see your KDA and last hits and denies, but you also see your net worth throughout the game. So you see the net worth of your hero throughout the game, so you have a good sense of where you are. And there's also like, it has real time averages for what you should be hitting, right? So it's like there's a net worth you should be hitting at 10 minutes. There's a last hit and deny you should be hitting at 10 minutes. And there's a KDA that you should have at 10 minutes, and based on global averages. And that to me is really, really powerful. It may be that one I would say yes. Yeah, that might be pay to win right there. Just that feature alone.
The compendiums in the past had that feature every once in a while with certain heroes, like a gold count or item progression. It would keep track of and let you know if you're above or beyond that. So that was definitely along that fashion, but I didn't mind it because you paid for the compendium and then it was challenging you to grow and then gave you kind of a reward, which this is kind of doing it. This is kind of like what Dota used to do. You used to play a lot and you would get a bunch of levels and you get more items. So now they're going back to what it started as, no matter if you paid or not.
Yeah. Except
now they're realizing they just want a steadier income, a more reliable income. So I feel they're doing this.
Yeah, certainly.
But they're still gonna. The Battle Cup is cool. Like I said, seasonal terrain, I don't care. Like all the cosmetic stuff, you can do that all you want.
But that's what Dota is, right? I mean, that's what you want to pay for. You just want to pay for cosmetics. That's why everybody loves this game. It's like, if I want to spend $1,000 on cosmetics, I can. But it doesn't change how the game is played at all. No.
Doesn't give you an advantage. Doesn't give you an extra hero this week that you can play that you couldn't play. I'm just afraid that it's seeping towards that ground.
It may be, and that the one thing that I like about, and just to finish this up too on this Plus Assistant, the spectator win probability graph. Why is that just not for everybody? Like, more data when you're spectating a game just makes sense to me, right?
It just makes it more enjoyable. Yeah. And then if they do a big jump, you'll be like, wow, you'll be more impressed.
So yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of these features, you could take them out and I wouldn't feel like I was being cheated by paying $4 a month or whatever. I took the discount and I went for the annual, right? So I got it for like $40. So I got it for even less than that. So you could take all that out. Like I said, for me, it just if all this was here you go, here you pay and you get to play Battle Cup for free every week, like that alone is worth it to me. So I mean, some of these features definitely should be taken, I think, from the plus assistant specifically. But like, yeah, having the seasonal terrain is nice.
Yep.
Get that every year, get that as long as you have the plus. I think that's a nice feature. That's a nice perk. That's not game breaking by any means, unless it's a really shitty terrain, then it can mess things up. But like the sunken reef one just gives me a headache looking at that.
They look so cool, but you get distracted on things that you're not used to, so it makes it harder to play the game.
Yeah.
But that's
exactly.
If you're into it, so let them be into it. That's fine. They can do all the terrains they want.
So what do you think of this hero progression, like the hero leveling?
Okay, so the hero leveling is that part of this Dota Plus thing?
No, that's part of it's under the hero progression tab. So basically, you get each hero has a set of achievements that you can get. So as you get achievements, you level up the hero.
Okay.
So and every time you play him, you get like a little bit of experience points. And so if you make an achievement, you get some more experience points. It looks like they got little badges that'll level up as you achieve higher levels in that specific hero. And then it gives you like these what are they called? The shards, I think, for the
I didn't even get this far. I thought this was going to be one long continual read. I didn't understand that this was all separate.
Yeah. So it's so you can see the challenges. You get the things. You get shards, so you can get items and other things like that, right? So it's just another way to pay for items rather than real dollars, which, again, that's great. That's a cool thing. And then, if you go down further, it's the relics. So as you get up in levels, you unlock the relics.
Yep.
And so the relics are really just tracking different stats per hero.
Okay.
So you just get statistical milestones. So it's kind of like the, again, it's sort of a Dota Buff feature, right, for individual heroes that you have. Like you can go, right, I can go on and I can see like, what's my best KDA is Void, or what's my, what was the longest game I played as Void, like that type of thing. Like that's basically just be here in in-game client.
Okay.
That seems fine to me.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I'm not bugged by that at all.
So
I assume, have you looked, like, if you're on Dota right now, can you buy levels? If you log into Dota and you've bought the Battle Pass or whatever this Dota Plus thing is called.
Can you buy the shards?
Yeah, can you buy shards? Just like Battle Pass levels.
Can you buy shards? I don't think you can, actually. I don't think you can buy shards.
That's kind of cool.
So you have to do the achievements.
You have to earn. Does this go away when you stop paying? Your achievements, I guess. I wonder if you have to start over.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Probably not. It'll probably just pick you up where you left off, but you can't get any more. You can't level that character anymore.
Yeah.
You're better with him.
That would make sense, right?
Yeah. I bet that's how that works.
Yeah, so I'm looking right now. You can't... I'm just looking in the shop just to see, too. Yeah, there's no ability to just buy shards.
Okay. Like a Battle Pass.
Yeah. So there's sets now too that are shard, like you can only get them with the shards, right? It's like this new AM set, which actually these new sets, these specific ones look amazing too. like that's what I'm super happy about, the fact that like they actually the sets they got to put into this is actually like it makes you feel like it's a premium thing, right? It's like, yeah, okay, I spent money to get access to these really premium sets. Like they're sick, like every single one of them. Like I don't even play sniper, but I want this sniper set. Like it's ridiculous how nice it looks.
Awesome.
So I think, speaking to the cosmetics too, I'm interested to see how that's going to go with the creators, right? The content creators for this, because it's like, do you want to get, like, what's their share if they get into this thing, right?
Or are
Like,
they just one-offs? Do they get paid to design something one if they like them and say, here's your, your $10,000 or $2,000 or whatever it be, and then you're
yeah,
done, and
yeah,
then they make as much money as they can.
because like these sets are all what 75,000 shards, right? So,
Yeah,
but what is a I don't what does that translate into a dollar value, right?
yeah,
And then what does that translate into a dollar value for the creator? Like, what's the split? I mean, so that to me is really interesting because it, that would upset me is if those guys are getting less out of this than Valve is, right? Because these guys are really what's driving the community. So
mm-hmm.
that would be something I would want to know and
Yep.
and see some stuff on because they've already I know way back I think right around TI there was a couple of Reddit posts from some of the content creators saying like, look, you're making this way too difficult for us. Like you're driving us all away.
Yeah, I
And I
was
was
gonna do it myself, and I started getting into it. I started making my first set, and then Dota came up with an update that didn't really show off sets. For a while, they weren't. You couldn't show them while you were about the game start, and I was like, "F this! I'm gonna work really hard to maybe get something that nobody ever sees."
yeah.
It's so bad on their forefront, and they don't understand. I mean, the community is what it's this whole thing. Half of it doesn't. Half of it I love. Half I'm on board with. The other half on like the set stuff, and they're probably taking away from them. Make it more competition based. Give them a 75% cut of every sale or whatever it be. Work out a
Yeah.
monetary investment. Get the fans super excited that they voted on a design. That's the stuff that made Dota awesome, and it's another thing I feel they're slightly taking away from us.
I agree. And and this is sort of getting off topic too, but
Mm-hmm.
like take the Arcana for instance, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
right, we vote for who wins the Arcana, but we
Yeah.
have no say whatsoever in the Arcana that comes out, right?
Yeah. Make
And
it a vote.
and that yeah, exactly. That's what I think is crazy is they need to have is they're missing out on an opportunity. Have a competition with some of these content creators. Get like just put it at open call even just like look hey you submit an Arcana set for Pudge and then put together like literally another voting bracket have the community vote on it it's like and that way you can't say like it wasn't via the community and then it's also a windfall for that content creator right it's not just Valve pocketing $35 for a
Uh-huh.
freaking set that and it could go to one of these other guys, or at least part of that, at least,
Yeah.
and then that just builds goodwill with the community even more.
Yeah. There's a reason people are so loyal to Dota, and then these other games that come out, they might have bigger numbers for a temporary spell, but they're gonna fade away. You start taking away the community stuff, you're gonna hurt the thing as a whole. And who cares if we're only the fifth biggest video game in the world? We're very happy with it. You guys should be happy with your billions you make off the fifth biggest video game in the world. It's kind of annoying that you have to be you're trying to be something else.
Yeah, but yeah,
They want to be
yeah.
number one. They want to make more money. I get all this business shit, but this community is kind of the anti or the cry for the way the trend was going in games. I think, and they're missing out on that. And there's plenty of ways to make tons and tons of money in here. They just fuck up all the time. I mean, like I said, the tournaments are embarrassing. I don't mind. Who's the funny guy who gets all the guys to do all the corny stuff?
Sir Action Slacks.
He's great. Who cares? Like that part, that's great. That's silly. It's over the top and it's ridiculous, and that's fine. But when you have people taking photos and shit, the photos should be like cut out well and stuff like that. Maybe not for the Sir Action Slack stuff because we understand it's campy. But then they have the same song play for every player as they walk out, both sides on the stage. What kind of competition is that? That's lame. Nobody does that. Play a song for Virtus Pro every time. Every tournament, Virtus Pro has their own song, their own identifier that they pick. This is easy. This has been done for everybody else, and they just ignore it. It drives me crazy. You guys are just losing money.
Let's do another video just on this.
All right.
Let's do another video just on this. But
That's
yeah,
a good call.
I'm with you.
I'm long-winded.
I could go all night talking about different things with tournaments too. I hear you.
Yeah, this will be a good. Okay, I'm gonna end this basically now. I'm just gonna do more talk at you videos. I'm gonna try to do one a week. I'm gonna try to get Bro in here a lot. I don't know what availability is, but so we can be more out to the crowd and speak to Tilted Gaming too, like show off Chet's new puppy and shit like that. That's awesome. That's what people want to see. So I think this will be good.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right.
And I just gotta finish before we go. The thing I'm most excited about is these hero chat wheels. I think that is just amazing. Because to me, the chat wheel was so good last year with the TI.
It didn't get annoying to you that it kept...
no. I loved every second of it. I know I know a lot of people are just like, please turn it off, but I was not. I was like one who was like, just please keep adding. Keep adding to
the chat wheel.
No, like I really want, like after Toby said they're coming in from behind, like I want that now, right? Like I want after I think it was Katowice or Katowice where he said that, right? He's like, and they're coming in from behind. I'm just like, I want to spam that in all chat all the time.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a long cooldown in all chat for that, but
yes, yeah,
I like it too.
No, I think it's great. So there's that, like we said, there's some really good parts of this, but I think some of the plus assistant piece of this has definitely got to be relooked at.
And I guarantee they're gonna have a compendium for the for TI, and they're gonna make you spend more money on it and all this shit. Now, if this was contributing to that, I'd feel a little better about that, but they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's actually going to be really interesting, is how this builds up to TI, right? Because it's not having that anticipation of a start and an end date is no longer there, or at least the way that they've laid this out. So I'd be very interested to see what they decide to do when it comes to that, right? Or if they release a add-on or something like that.
Or 25% of all this goes to the to the winnings pool. That would be cool. I'd be more on board, but I don't have faith in them to do that. All right, that's a good note to end on. All right, thank you, bro. I'm just stopping the recording here.